Sasso insecticide spray and coil. Kumentuntum prekun.
Hello and good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from our news Abata Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I'm Alfred Akosombo. Tonight, as Ghanaians continue to bear the brunt of the power outages, with government working around the clock to bring all turbines back online, the minority is blaming the energy minister's policy direction for the current situation. So we would have a response from the Energy Ministry and an update on what is being done right now. We'll tell you as well about the areas that would suffer the power outages tonight into tomorrow morning and then the most part of tomorrow. So stay with us. Also, Ghana Water Company says it is struggling to supply water to parts of Accra due to the power supply challenges as a result of this fire outbreak at the Akosombo. So we're going to look at this as well. So stay with us. The Ghana Federation of Labour has instructed its members nationwide to abstain from participating in the 2026 May Day celebration, citing what it describes as a series of breaches by the Trade Union Congress, TUC. Later this evening here on Ghana Tonight, government says it is implementing measures to address the continuous decline in oil production. Stay with us. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, have put out a report earlier. We're going to be hearing from them if what the minister is saying is convincing enough. We have just gotten notice of an arrest of illegal miners in the Etiwa forest. We've got some exclusive videos coming through just this evening, so stay with us. You're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's set a focus on our briefs.
Retired security officials, Captain Retired Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu and Brigadier General Joseph Nunu Mensah are calling on government to intensify the crackdown on illegal mining. Speaking at a town hall meeting to reflect their past for the future, they explained that without a coordinated and forceful approach, the long-term cost of illegal mining, Galamsey to the country, could be severe.
We're not dealing with the problem. We are tinkering with the problem. We are wiping the problem up. We are not dealing with it. When people are threatening your life, your livelihood, we are all at risk. We are at the point of being killed. Declare martial law. Suspend the laws of the country and give them special power to deal with the problem. It will be dealt with. We are not doing that.
They are destroying our natural resources because of few dollars of money that they will get. And government cannot deny it, that no other group apart from the military can solve this problem.
The minority in parliament says the energy minister must face scrutiny just like the Gridco chief executive officer, indicating that John Jinapur's policy direction and government neglect of the energy sector recovery program have caused the recent power outages. The deputy ranking on the Energy Committee is demanding payment of some $500 million owed to independent power producers and a comprehensive briefing on plans to resolve the crisis.
Communities were living in darkness, not for hours, but for days. Industries were hemorrhaging losses. Cold stores were warming. Hospitals were straining on generators. That was the reality of Ghana's power sector before any incident at Akosombo. The problems of the sector is not only technical, it is financial. The Ministry of Finance announced last year that it had cleared all the debts to IPPs.
The Public Utility Workers Union, PUW, says more than 8,000 workers of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, are living in fear. Their concern follows accusations from some political actors who claim that ECG staff are deliberately sabotaging the nation's power supply. General Secretary of PUW, Timothy Nyame, has warned that the issue may create industrial disharmony in the energy sector.
Commentators are making those comments, and you see a vehicle that is on duty. When they attack it, when they vandalize it, when they attempt to harm our members, and you know one life is so dear when it comes to this industrial relation. These are the people who have sacrificed, they have applied to work, and you are giving them the work and they are doing the work. When they are not working, you sanction them. Is that not what they do? They sanction them continuously when they don't work. But when they are working, and then there's a record, there's evidence that, oh, this one is not to them, and you blame them, we have cause of. So we are calling on them to refrain from doing that.
Marine artisanal canoe farmers have once again been exempted from the annual closed fishing season. The exemption, according to the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Emilia Arthur, is intended to protect livelihoods while ensuring an inclusive and balanced approach to fisheries management. However, industrial trawlers and semi-industrial vessels will observe 2 months and 1 month closed season respectively.
The 2026 closed season program is to avoid undue economic hardship and unintended post-closure fishing pressure that undermines conservation gains, whilst considering the nutritional provision from canoe fishes, as 80% of the fish consumed in Ghana comes from canoe fishes, and 60% of Ghana's animal protein comes from fish.
It's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. As always, proudly brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil, Tum Preco. Coming up next on Ghana Tonight, the Ghana Federation of Labour instructs its members nationwide to abstain from participating in the 2026 May Day celebrations. That's what's coming up next. They are citing what it describes as a series of breaches by the Trade Union Congress. It's coming up next year on Ghana Tonight, and it's one that we've been following quite closely. The Ghana Federation of Labour is effectively instructing its members nationwide to abstain from participating in the 2026 May Day celebrations, citing what it described as a series of breaches by the Trade Union Congress. According to the Federation, from what we are reading now, a statement that has been attributed to its Deputy General Secretary, that is Kenneth Kumsin. We're going to put portions of the statement as has been ascribed to him, that in Ghana, a quote, according to Kenneth Kumsin, the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Labour, we have 180 trade unions, and the only platform that brings us together is organized labor. But the TUC happens to forget that 2003 Labour Act outlawed the monopoly it enjoyed under the 1965 Industrial Relations Act, which was a decree by Kwame Nkrumah. TUC still operates as if it still has that hegemony in existence On April 15, the organized labor leaders convened a meeting and invited TUC, but they boycotted the meeting. And the objective of the meeting was to review the program for the May Day, including speeches and statements that will be read. During last year's parade, a speech was read without us having an idea of the content, and we don't want that to happen again. That's the Ghana Federation of Labour. Reason why they say they're boycotting or having their members boycott any event during this May Day celebration. But TUC is the biggest labor union, but it is not the when they talk about the organized labor, they're a big part of it, an influential part of it, but it also encompasses other labor unions. And that's why the Ghana Federation of Labour say that they don't want to toe the line of the TUC if they are not coming together as one body to review, for instance, speeches. And here's where I bring in Austin Game. He is an experienced labor expert with international repute, a former minister, a former member of parliament, a trainer of trainers is joining us on Zoom. Good evening. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Game.
Thank you, Nene.
Perfect. Now, you've seen this statement as that's been ascribed to Kenneth Compson of the Ghana Federation of Labour. But look at the concerns. They say last year, TUC went to make a speech that did not represent them. And so they have decided. Mr. Game, I think we lost your image. So can you could take your finger off and let's... Hello?
Is it okay now?
No, it's not. We've lost you. So, perfect. Please leave it like this. Now, so how does this statement, strike you from the Ghana Federation of Labour?
Thank you once again. Honestly, in response to the constitutional provisions of the 1992 Constitution, putting together the Labour Act 651, clearly we have pluralism in Ghana for trade unions. There's freedom of association. Both sides are my very good friends, and they know as a teacher I cannot help but than to educate properly. Under the Labour Act, there's freedom of association. Where the connection came to, you can find it under section 112, where the establishment of the National Tripartite Committee, and we, in the law, invited organized labor. All trade unions are trade unions. They have the freedom to form or to de-associate. But when they come together, to enable them to work together cooperatively, they are to come under the banner of organized labor. And therefore, the body that has the most representative, that is in population, could be the teachers, NAT, or maybe the nurses, or CLOSAG, or people who are affiliated to the Trade Union Congress, like Public Services Workers Union, and so forth and so on. When they come together, they have affiliated the Trade Union Congress as one unit. And therefore, if they are the majority or the most representative, then they will lead the other members together. They have the same appreciation, the same understanding. They are supposed to meet, have a conversation, agree on what they are putting. Because when the thing comes out in the name of organized labor, whether you were present or not present, you are connected. Therefore, it's only fair that they don't introduce friction into their system. They will have to come together under that banner of organized labor, have a conversation about any issue concerning them, and when they reach consensus, that is what will be delivered by either the Secretary General of the TUC or whosoever they prefer at that material time to be the spokesperson for them. So the choice is theirs.
And you see, they make this point in the statement that they put out that, yes, the TUC obviously has, in terms of population and influence, as compared to the likes of Ghana Federation of Labour, you would say the TUC has more in terms of impact, influence, and then the kind of the footprints in the labour front. That's not a contestable position. What they are not happy about is that they convened a meeting which they were supposed to discuss, for instance, speeches that were supposed to be delivered and so on, because of what happened last year. And the TUC boycotted that meeting. And so if there's going to be a statement, it's not going to be representative of organized labor. I mean, how can this be addressed?
Well, if indeed all the people I know that come together to be federated as a Federation of Labor, not necessarily the Kumsin side alone. They have other people that join them together. They are quite a formidable body, and I think that it's only fair, even if they are two. The law says two can form a union. They are supposed to be invited to the meeting. They must have an input into the say, into whatever they want to say, but the delivery will be done by the arrowhead, being the Trade Union Congress. And at this material point in time, it will not be Trade Union Congress delivering. It will be organized labor. That is the rendition of the law. That is expected to be the practice and not any other way around. Indeed, some years ago, when NAT and NAGRAT were having the friction and their international, I facilitated the process and we resolved, and that's how come they have been working together collaboratively. And so it's only proper that both sides see themselves as people who are seeking to protect the common interest of the working people and not the personality issue. So I will urge them to just put away their feelings and come together. It's not too late. May 1st is just some days in front of us. They should come together, have a conversation, and not go to argue as to who is right and who is wrong. That is not the field for them.
The fact that these are entrenched positions that both parties have taken, in what form should this mediation take, for that matter? Now, with what you are proposing, in a minute, before I let you go.
I think that they are very capable people. They can have a self-mediation between them if they don't want a third party. They can have a self-mediation and agree on some ground rules and be able to not to be entrenched in their position, but to have a simple conversation about what the way forward should be. It's about being on the same beach. It's about being sure that what they are doing is in the interest of the members who are their customers and who pay dues to them. They should remember the people who are their customers, the workers, who are the ordinary people. I urge them, they're my friends, I urge them to come together. If they want me to help facilitate it, I'm available. Everybody knows. Right.
Mr. Game, appreciate you for this. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Austin Game is a labor expert joining us with this developing story, as a matter of fact, with what has been described as some discord or some disagreement in on the labor front regarding what the labor front will be representing on the May Day. For instance, speeches that have to be made and so on. They want to have a harmonized approach and some consensus to that effect. They are raising questions about the TUC's separate position on this matter. It's one that we'll keep an eye on because it's just a few days to May Day. So the coming days is one to watch. But this is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next is just some information we've just received. The rapid response teams have arrested 24 suspects in the Etiwa Forest Reserve over illegal mining. And this happened just about some 6 hours ago. A rapid response team drawn from 6 units across the country has arrested 24 suspects for engaging in illegal mining activities in the Etiwa forest. That's what you see on the screen there. All these 24 suspects have been arrested. Those are the ones seated on the floor. The suspects aged between 14 years old and 42 have been handed over to the police and are expected to face prosecution at the Chebi District Court. Now, during the operation, the team dismantled and burned makeshift structures constructed with polythene sheets along with pumping machines used for the illegal activities, or these illegal miners. Several other suspects reportedly fled the scene. So the 24 you are saying, they're not just the only one. There are quite a number of them, we understand, who fled the scene. The Etiwa Forest Reserve, which spans approximately 235.5 square kilometers, has come under increasing pressure from illegal mining in recent years, leading to significant environmental degradation. So this operation we're talking about entered into the early hours of the evening. So these are the evening videos the pictures we're showing you. So an operation that lasted quite a number of hours. And these pictures we just got some few minutes ago, showing you exactly what has been happening this evening. According to the Forestry Commission's latest findings, an estimated 4 hectares of the forest reserve, that's Etiwa, roughly the size of 4 football fields, have already been affected by illegal mining. It actually could be more. And here's why I bring in Daryl Bosu, who is the Deputy National Director of Arocha Ghana. They have been doing quite some work in the Etiwa Forest, stationed there for many, many years. Daryl, I thank you for joining us. You had highlighted the increasing activities of illegal miners in the Etiwa Forest, and this is what we're hearing right now. 24 of them have been arrested, involved in this illegal mining. An instructive development, or you think is a tip of the iceberg from what you know?
Good evening, Alfred. And then I think, yes, definitely we need to be very happy about this development, especially with the work of the rapid response team. I must say that, and you said it very rightly, that this is actually probably the tip of the iceberg, because there are several areas, where illegal miners have really taken, I would say, very, their presence is very active there. And there's another place called the Esikem area where also we have a lot of the miners working. The Sejimas area has been very problematic, and you can't believe that since as of March this year, there's already been over 100 arrests at that place by the Forestry Commission alone. But all this while, the problem is that the police and also the courts have not been able to prosecute these people. So we believe that some of these people put on bail eventually find themselves going back to these areas and working. So I think that the pressure is mounting, and a lot of these miners still keep going back to the same area. And it only takes the effort of the rapid response team to really go back there and try to control the situation. But you see, that's why we think that the fight against Galamsey, government needs to really strengthen it, because these rapid response team need significant resources to be able to do the work they are doing. They also need to be resourced to be able to have permanent camps in these areas so that they can avert these encroachments once and for all. But for them to go and come back because they don't have resources to be stationed there permanently has become a problem. And I think that this action is very much welcome, and we need to see more of this.
But you know this forest quite well. And looking at what we are just seeing, that these people have actually established camps in the forest. They've had makeshift structures in there, which is housing a number of them from the briefing that we got. And then also the activities now span about 6 football fields and more. That's the size of the forest, the Etiwa forest right now. But you know the extent of the destruction. Just give me a picture, a mental picture of what we are dealing with.
Yes, Alfred. So I think that the thing is that these miners, like you said, they're going numbering sometimes over 100. And they go and stay in the forest, they pitch their tent and work day and night. The forestry team in Chebi have been doing their best, but this has not been enough, because you need to really have presence, some permanency to be able to monitor and get these guys out. And if we are talking about 100 people in a particular location, and if I also tell you that there are some other locations with also equal number of people, it tells you how very, very serious it is. If you go to, for example, a community like Isikim, not far from Sejimase, almost everybody in the community, most of the miners in the community, when they get up in the morning, they make the forest their thoroughfare, they move into the forest, and they send food, they send resources, everything. They go and pitch camps. So if you recall, not too long ago, we shared some area view of some of the activities. And these are the guys who are sitting alongside the rivers and really mining and polluting the rivers coming from them. So it's really quite an extended activity by these legal miners. And that is why I say that until we really resort the Forestry Commission to set up permanent camps in these areas, the miners will keep going to these areas. Unfortunately, we are not even getting a lot of support from the police. There's a district police command, there's a divisional, there's a district as well, but no one is supporting. And the only problem we face is that even when the Forestry Commission arrests these people, it takes them a long time, and the police just keep taking them to the courts and back and all of that. For over a year now, over 100 people arrested somewhere last year have still not been prosecuted. So it really creates a lot of burden for the Forestry Commission to keep doing this back and forth and not really wasting resources just trying to prosecute these people. So, Alfred, it's a very, very serious situation, and not only Sejimase and also Esikim, all around the perimeter of the forest reserve, there's really a lot of encroachment, and we really need to see the Forestry Commission adequately resourced to be able to bring this under control.
And you're saying that over 100 of these illegal miners who have been arrested over the last 1 year in the Tua Forest have not been prosecuted. The Attorney General...
Not as yet.
I see.
Not as yet.
Right. The Attorney General gave an indication of what could possibly be the problem. If you recall last year when he was giving some updates at the Jubilee House, I know that your organization was represented at that meeting, not you, but somebody from your organization. The Attorney General did indicate that when they take some of these people to court, they are granted bail, and then the next moment they find themselves back in the pit. Is that what you've also been observing?
Yes, Alfred, and that is a problem. If the state says that they are very determined to do Galamsey, you would expect some very coordinated action. It's not that these people were not arrested on site. That's why I said that this government has set aside Act 995, which gives them all the powers they need to prosecute people who are found culpable engaging in Galamsey. All of these people are arrested in the forest reserve, which is already an illegal activity. They are arrested and taking Galamsey. It's also an illegal activity. So I don't know what the courts are waiting for. And if you take the Eastern region, for example, there are only 2 courts that are only adjudicating over issues relating to Galamsey. So that is also the problem. You see, the government said they were going to set up special courts and make sure that if issues relating to Galamsey within 6 months, these cases will have been dealt with because the evidence is there. And Act 995 also talks about summary conviction for people engaging in Galamsey. Somehow, this government is pretending as though the courts are inactive, the courts are unable to really sit over these cases and make sure they bring conclusion to them. We really don't understand why the Forestry Commission, instead of spending very adequate, spending resources on these forest reserve, are spending all their money taking persons they have arrested back and forth between one court to the other for over a year now without any prosecution. So there's a problem with the coordinated manner in which the government is addressing this Galamsey issue. It is so ad hoc, not coordinated at all. And it's the same case with all the arrests that NIMOS is making. So I really think that there's a problem with the bit of the prosecution bit. It was the same with the previous administration, somewhere 2017, 2018, with Operation Vanguard and Operation Hot. I think that we are just repeating the same mistakes. And that's why we're not seeing real results now.
Dara, appreciate you for this. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Dara Bosu is the Deputy National Director of Arocha, Ghana. They're doing their work in the Etiwa Forest. What we're learning this evening is that 24 illegal miners have been arrested. They will be showing you the videos of these illegal miners. And according to Daryl, the small that's going on. It's one that we'll keep an eye on here on Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, government says it is implementing measures to address the continuous decline in oil production in the country. And this was in response to a report which we touched on earlier. We're going to hear from the Energy Minister, Dr. John Jenabo, yesterday during that engagement or the accountability series when he gave an update on what government is doing or his ministry is doing to address the impact of this fire outbreak at Akosombo, it indicated that government says it's implementing measures to address the continuous decline in oil production. Ghana's crude oil production has declined for the 6th consecutive year, 6 years continuous, dropping from a peak of 71.4 million barrels to about 37.3 million barrels in 2025, a compounded annual average decline of about 9%, according to the PIAC report that was released earlier this month. They made a few recommendations that government, through the Petroleum Commission, develop a framework to boost investment in existing production fields, particularly 10 fields where output has underperformed. Well, this is what the minister said when a question was asked about oil production and what government is doing to address these concerns. Take a look.
For the first time in 6 years, the continuous decline of our oil production this year will halt it and turn it around. With Look Oil, I have good news for you. Next week, I'll brief you. Something positive is happening. Very positive. We're making a significant headway, and we are determined to address that challenge. We are making the sector attractive. All the big majors are coming in. Shell is showing interest, Chevron is showing interest. Petroleum Commission is leading us in that agenda and working with diligence, with transparency, and there's certainty now in the sector. So we are on course. In the downstream sector, in countries like France, in London and other countries, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, they don't even have the fuel. There are shortages there. Some countries do not even have the fuel. We've never suffered any supply disruption. We are rather providing subsidy. So we are on course. And sometimes we get these challenges. But I know that we overcome this challenge.
Well, that's Dr. John Jinapo, the Minister in charge of Energy and Green Transition. Now, according to the PIAC report, this is what we do know when it comes to our production of crude over the last, at least we tracked the last 7 years, and it clearly reflects what PIAC has been talking about. From the year 2020, let's take a look at this. In the year 2019, 71.4 million barrels of crude oil in that year, declined to about 66.9 million in 2020. 2021, 55.1 million barrels. Then in 2022, declined slightly to 51.7 million barrels. In 2023, 48.2 million barrels. Then that same quantity in terms of barrels of crude oil produced in that year was maintained in the year 2024. Then in 2025, last year, here's what we, according to the PIAC report, the country produced in terms of crude oil: 37.3 million barrels of crude oil, 2025. That's a decline from 48.2 million barrels to 37.3 million barrels. Let me bring in Mr. Richard Elima, is the chair of the Public Interest Accountability Committee, PIAC. They are the source for this information that you see on the screen right now. Mr. Elima, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred.
Perfect. Now, you heard the minister there. Says that already some measures have been put in place, mentioned Look Oil and others and other investments that have been or are being done to address this continuous decline in the crude oil production over the years, as you highlighted in your report. Convincing?
Well, not very convincing because we've heard this before. We've had assurances in the past. Remember last year when we met the president, he mentioned that the big players are all eager to come back to Ghana and participate in our oil industry. And some of these news ordinarily should give us some hope. But for us at PIAC, until we get them coming, signing petroleum agreements, and then working and then starting production, that is where I believe that is where the difference will matter. But for now, we'll take it at face value. It's an assurance from the minister, and that is good enough. But we want to see action. We want to see actual production. That is what will give us some hope that we can then stop the decline in our production.
I see, but from where you sit, and based on what you heard the minister say, which you say that you want evidence, you want some practical reflection of that assurance. What has contributed to this continuous decline we've seen over the last 7 years?
Well, there are three broad reasons. Number one is the natural decline. The Jubilee field, which contributes over 50% of our total oil production, is quite old. It came on stream in December 2010. So we are talking about a field that is about 15 years. And oil is a finite resource. The more you keep drilling, the more you keep producing, it's not going to fill up again. It will just be exhausted at a point. So it is not surprising that after 15 years, it has started declining. So that is the story of the Jubilee field. Then we have the 10 field, which is just about 10 years old. It held a lot of promise at the time it was discovered. But then, unfortunately, the geological makeup of the 10 field also makes it very difficult for us to get the oil that we think we can get. And that is the problem. So the first problem, the first reason for the decline is the natural decline that we are talking about. Then the second has to do with lack of investments in the sector. Since 2018, we haven't had any company coming into the country to sign any petroleum agreement. I think until last year, November, when an agreement was signed. So if for over 7 years, you have no investor coming in, signing an agreement and starting to produce, then obviously we can't add on to what we already have. So that was a problem. Now, the lack of investment in the sector itself is a factor of many things. One was some experts have raised questions about the petroleum, the EMP, the Exploration and Production Act 919. Some experts have raised questions that it is of no use at this moment. When you talk of contemporary, fiscal and legal regime in the oil and gas sector, that law is no longer relevant. We need to just update that law. We need to review it, especially the fiscal and regulatory issues in that law. Some have raised questions about our royalty rates. Some have raised questions about our corporate tax and other issues within the law. So we need to amend the law to make it more relevant to the current trend in the industry. Mind you, we have newly emerging oil countries like Ivory Coast, like Namibia, coming on stream, offering investors better deals than we are doing now. So we need to go back to the drawing board and look at our legal and fiscal arrangements. Otherwise, we will continue to experience the decline. And then another factor we also cannot ignore is the long-standing feud between the Ghana government and some international oil companies. And over here, we can particularly talk about the ENI versus the Ghana issue that went for international arbitration. It painted Ghana in a very bad light in the investment world. So it made it very difficult for any oil company that was interested to come to Ghana to come in and then do exploration. So that was also another reason. Then finally, the other set of reasons are purely technical, So there have been complaints about our block sizes, which are way too small as compared to the block sizes that Ivory Coast is offering. There is also a complaint about our data, the quality of the data that we offer investors, which they think is outdated. So all these factors have contributed ultimately to the decline in our production.
Well, and I do appreciate you for this. And maybe in a minute, if you just tell me if what the minister said is not convincing, what do you want to see or what do you want to hear in terms of the specific interventions and investment to address this in a minute?
If tomorrow morning I hear that an oil company has signed a petroleum agreement with government and has started working, that will give me some hope that at least the future is very bright. But till then, I can only tell Ghanaians that let's wait and see.
You would rather adopt the wait and see approach to this?
Yes. Yes. Because, as we talk, a number of companies have done some discoveries.
Okay.
There are some discoveries that have been done, but they haven't moved to the next phase, which is to do more of the commercial production. That, for me, the commercial production is what matters. It is not about, the investors coming in and expressing interest. Interests do not add up to production. It is the actual, production. It is the actual commercial production that will increase our total production for the year and then impact our revenues. So that is what we are interested in, not just expressions of interest.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you for this. Thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight with your thoughts on this particular development and what's happening right now here on Ghana Tonight. And that is the chair of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Sir Richard Anima there. Thank you for joining us. And let's just stay a bit further. I did indicate to you earlier about an update on the electricity situation. Well, we just got a notice. This was 2 hours ago, but there's been an update. Let's just establish the sequence. The Minister in charge of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Jenapo, put this out that I can confirm that earlier today, the third unit at Akosombo was successfully put into operation. This milestone will improve power generation and enhance supply reliability. It also reflects our continued commitment to maintaining a resilient power system. The technical team is currently working diligently to bring on the fourth unit. So we have a video of this third unit that was being moved. We're going to put that on the screen right now because there's been an update to this particular statement from the minister. When we put that video on the screen right now, it gives you an idea of what we're talking about as we speak. Now, this is what the minister just posted not too long ago. We'll put that video of the movement. And when just about some 30 minutes ago, the minister, Dr. John Jenapo, just put this out at 9:09 p.m., the fourth unit. So this one related to the third unit. This was 2 hours ago. Just about 30 minutes ago, the minister has just given an update. He says at 9:09 p.m., the fourth unit at Akosombo Dam was successfully brought into operation, an encouraging step that strengthens power generation and reflects the dedication and the expertise of the team behind the effort. So this is just some 30 minutes ago. So this is the fourth. So all four units, we understand, now have been brought on board, all 4 units at the Akosombo Dam. So this was just 30 minutes ago, the update we got from the minister, Dr. John Jenapo, on this. So this is it. It says at 9:09 p.m., the fourth unit has been brought into operation. And this says, it's an encouraging step that strengthens power generation. Let's just come through. So and before we go for this quick break, and right afterwards, I'll tell you the areas that would be affected by a power outage tomorrow. But the Electricity Company of Ghana wishes to inform and acknowledge that there are pockets of unplanned power outages currently being experienced in certain parts of the country. These outages are largely due to distribution challenges, including obsolete infrastructure, weakened cables, and overloaded transformers within their network. To address these issues, the government, in collaboration with ECG, has commenced a Transformer Upgrade and Replacement Program, TURP, which is being implemented in the phases across the country. As part of this initiative, over 2,500 transformers are being installed across ECG's operational areas to enhance capacity and improve the reliability of power supply. Due to these upgrading works, planned outages will be carried out and the public will be informed accordingly. ECG is actively working to resolve these challenges as quickly as possible. That's the information that they have just brought, and sincerely apologizing for the inconvenience caused and kindly crave their patience and understanding of all affected customers. If you're experiencing such challenges, the ECG says, please be assured that they are terms of their engagement and also the work they are doing is as swift as possible, and they are working diligently to reach you. Please call the hotline, ECG hotline, 0302 611 611. 0302 611 611 to report any unplanned outages, and their staff will promptly respond to your concerns. They remain committed to the mandate of providing reliable and consistent power supply to all Ghanaians. And at the back of this announcement by ECG, after this quick break, I'll tell you the areas that they have published on their Facebook page earlier today that power outage will be experienced tomorrow, for the most part of tomorrow, from afternoon to morning, afternoon, and evening. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Akosombo, coming soon on TV3.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. As I did indicate to you, the Electricity Company of Ghana has put out this notice. You can find it on their Facebook page. They say that the public, general public in the Volta region, Volta and OT regions, due to the fire outbreak at Great Coast substation at Akosombo, which has reduced power supply to the Volta and Ochi regions, power supply will be interrupted or curtailed in the underlisted areas from 12 noon tomorrow to 6 p.m. That is the 29th of April, 2026. Affected areas, as you see there, Joje, Ave towns, Nogokpo is going to be affected by this outbreak. That's I beg your pardon, the power outages as a result of the fire outbreak. Agbozome, you have Kleko as well, Weta towns, Task Corner, Afia Denigbe, and you have areas such as part of Ho Township, Wumenu, Agotime towns, Betoy, Agahome, Sarakope, Batume Junction, and quite a number of them. Ziope Township, all these areas will be affected. Dambaya as well, Bando, Toji, Domabim, Esukoko, and Toko, Perfect Township, and South Dai. Nelson Dafiame Post constituency, Peki as well will be affected and its surrounding areas. So that's for tomorrow between 12 noon and 6 p.m. And then from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight tomorrow at Didome Township, Akpenfo, all in the Volta and OT regions, at Didome Akpenfo, Mafi, Mepe, Dagome, Bato, Bando Technical, Basek, Bando Township, and all these areas, Aflao Township, cross-border towns, Tapa, Manya, Nive, all these areas will be affected as well. Fume, Golokwati, parts of Hohoi, Adaklo, Waya, Adaklo Sofa, all these areas will be affected. Parts of the Pando towns as well will be affected by this. And then, see there as well, the Ashanti region, Domiabra, Apromasi, Apiedu, Kokobing, Donyina, parts of Fejiso, and Bremang, Afranco, Mampong, Kumewu, Nsuta, Agona, Mamponting, Sofoline, Complex, Nkawie, Esikuma, and its surrounding areas. You have Antwakrom. So you have, it's interesting, some of these areas are going to be affected. So in the Ashanti region, Antwakrom will be affected by this outbreak as well. There's Fufu, Asamang, Nketia, parts of Kronum, airport, the airport area as well, parts of Pankrono, and also Krapa, in all these areas, Mampong, parts of affordable housing will be affected as well. So it's a wide area of impact from what we're seeing from this ECG notice. That the first notice is from 12 midnight to 6 a.m. So from 6 a.m. to 12 noon, these are the areas that will be affected in the Ashanti region. Asanso, Zongo, Apodom, Asokori, all these areas, Kwabrafoso, Tutuka, all these areas, Kwamang, Samfueduam, and Mankraso, Boating Chrome, and all these areas will be affected. Dabang, Ahojo, Sepasi, Afari, Nkaria, parts of Nkaria again, in Kuransa, low cost, Mfensi and Menshia, Kofredia, Kokobing, all these areas as well will be affected. You'll find the full complement of this on the ECG's Facebook page as well. Well, the minority earlier today addressed a press conference. They're making a few demands, and they point to not just a technical situation. They say there's a financial challenge as well that's affecting what we're seeing now in the energy sector. Take a look.
Communities were living in darkness, not for hours, but for days. Industries were hemorrhaging losses. Cold stores were warming. Hospitals were straining on generators. That was the reality of Ghana's power sector before any incident at Akosombo. The problems of the sector is not only technical, it is financial. The Ministry of Finance announced last year that it had cleared all the debts to IPPs. The government also credited itself with financial improvement at ECG. However, the data available to us is that government owes IPPs over $500 million and over $200 million to companies that supplied fuel for power generation. We call on the government to come clear on the financial situation in the sector, particularly after the imposition of the Dumso levy. The suspension of officials must not serve as a press release substitute for a genuine reckoning with the policy failures that has brought Ghana's energy sector to its knees. If any official is to face scrutiny, let that same scrutiny fall on the energy minister and on this president.
You can find more of this on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. Join us same time tomorrow as well on the New Day team, 6 a.m. on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7, 6 a.m. as well. I am Alfred Okanse. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight.